everyone, and welcome to episode 9 of Reputation Rescue at Lazio with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. So, since the last time you and I were together, patchy form has been a bit of a problem. We went out in the Italian Cup semi-final against AC Milan. We lost the first leg 2-1, drew the second leg 1-1, and so they go through 3-2 on aggregate. Bit disappointing, but AC Milan are a great side. It was a tough game. We did as good as we could do. A couple of injuries at that point meant that ultimately we weren't quite at full strength, and eventually they went through. We did very well though in the Euro Cup second knockout round against Ghent. We comfortably went through there 4-1, 2-0 and 4-1, so 6-1 on aggregate, which was a great performance. So we're going well in the Euro Cup. But the form has been patchy in the league. Since Spal, we won 1-0 in the last episode, if you remember. We've had a draw and a loss in the league. It's just dipped slightly. After that disappointment of going out in the cup competition against Milan, we struggled in the next game against Bologna, 0-0, and never got going. It was a real scrappy game. Nothing much happened in it, and we really struggled for points there. But we got one. And then again, after that good, sandwiched by those good score lines in the Euro Cup, we got beaten by Napoli. I mean, Napoli are very good, don't get me wrong. And they comfortably beat us 2-0, really. 26 and 55 minutes, their goals were scored. So one in the first half, middle of the first half, one fairly early in the second half, and we had no response to it whatsoever. We tried, we changed all sorts of things around, did what we could do, but it just didn't work on that particular occasion. And at home, Napoli beat us, which was a real problem. So we do have to try and arrest this slight slump in Serie A form. It hasn't caused us too many position drops in terms of the league position. We'll look at that in a second. But just in terms of momentum and gaining confidence and all those kinds of good things that you need, we do need to get back to winning ways. And today we get Udinese, which is a reasonable good game for us to be able to do that with, because they currently sit in 17th in the league. So they're obviously struggling a little bit this season, and momentum is not on their side, probably lack of confidence a little bit as well. So that leaves us in a good position to be able to do something against them, I hope. So if we go and check in with the league, you can see that we currently sit in third position. We've dropped one from previously where we've been sitting second to Zebra all the way through the season. But Inter Milan have done some good performances recently, and they've overtaken us in the league. We've got a game to play extra. I guess that's today's game. So if we were to win it, we'd be 2 points behind Inter Milan. If we don't win it, there's another little bit of a gap that opens up there, just in terms of getting as high up as we can. And look at the teams directly below us: Roma, Fiorentina, Atalanta, all within a couple of points of us in the league. So it's going to be tough to hold on to these points, these places, should I say, if we don't start picking up the points. And so that's what we have to start to do today. Udinese, as I say, sitting right the way down in 17th, struggling against relegation. There's a couple of teams in and around them that are still fighting for that. So let's see if we can take advantage of that. We do have a couple of injury issues. We've had quite a number over the last couple of weeks. Unfortunately, it's been a bit hit and miss with our squad choices. You can see that a couple are coming back to fitness. We've had others that have been out as well. We've got Milinkovic-Savic right the way down on 88% conditioning, but I am going to play him today because I want to arrest that run of slight dodgy Serie A form. So we're going to play the first team as much as we can, and then we'll give him a rest after this particular match. Lazzari and Courier are both out. They've been out for a little while, both of them. Courier's not long to return. Lazzari, unfortunately, about 3 weeks away, so it means that Marisic has to play down that right hand side quite a lot at the moment, so we need to keep him as healthy as possible. Other than that, Cataldi and Caicedo are both coming back from their injuries, so they're a little bit off the pace. And as I say, there's a lot that have been playing quite regularly recently, the likes of Milinkovic-Savic, who just need a little bit of a rest soon. So we'll be giving him that in the next week or so. So that all of that means that today, for the game against Udinese in Serie A, the team that we've got coming out are Strakosha in goal, Felipe, Vavro and Acerbi in central defence. I've switched Vavro and Felipe round just for player roles' sake, really. They both play well in the defence, but I just wanted better player roles, so we've switched them around. We've got Marisic on the right and Lulic on the left. We've got Leva, Milinkovic-Savic and Alberto in central midfield, and we've got Anderson supporting Immobile up top. And pretty much everybody, as is always the case in Serie A, if they're fit and they're healthy enough, they're on the bench. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So today, rather calmly in terms of team talks, I suggested to them that if they just relax, play their natural game, then the result will come. I just want to see how they cope with a little bit less impact on them at the beginning of matches, and see if they can settle into the game well and get a good early goal maybe and settle those nerves down. But just take it nice and easy, relax and play the game that we know they're capable of. There's some players in here, some very good players in this squad that are not quite reaching the heights just at the moment, and they are the likes of Milinkovic-Savic, who you expect an awful lot from the attributes that he's got and the reputation he's got, and he hasn't quite delivered that so far this season. So I'm just trying to find ways in which we can subtly change how we approach games and how we ask the players to perform. But you can see that central midfield and slightly down the left hand side with Lulic, they're all a little bit needing a rest at the moment, so we will have to do that in the next game or two. So far, it's been Udinese that have had most of the opportunities that we've seen, and there was a foul on the edge of the box. I think it was on the outside of the box rather than in it, but the referee goes over and checks, and we'll have to wait and see what he comes back with. Mulling it over at the screen, turns and comes back onto the pitch. What's he going to say? And he has given a free kick. I thought there was just that little bit of daylight between the foul and the penalty box. So a free kick for Udinese down the right hand side, but they are getting most of the opportunities that we've seen so far. And what's he doing with Alberto? Yellow card. I have to watch that in the second half. Maybe we might have to take him off and protect him a little bit. So after all of that, here comes Udinese's free kick to the far post, and they header it over the top of the bar, very, very narrowly over the top, but it was nonetheless over the top of the bar, so we can breathe a bit of a sigh of relief there. But yes, they go through to half time. Again, it's a highlight free half for us. We often don't get going in these games on any of my saves, to be honest, until the second half comes along, until I put a rocket up them at half time maybe. I'm not sure what it is. But if we look at these match stats just for a second, you can see it's been quite a disappointing game. 6 shots for them, 3 on target, 3 for us, 1 on target for us, and 51% possession to them, 49 for us. So it's been quite close, but we haven't really done much, have we? We haven't done anything to warrant a highlight even. So I am going to let the assistant suggest that it is disappointing and we need to get a better performance out of them now. Having tried to chill out in the first half, it hasn't been working. We haven't been up for the game. So let's put a little bit of a rocket under them, and they get fired up from that, and we'll go into the second half. We are going to have to pay attention carefully to these yellow cards and these slightly lower conditioning ratings as the match progresses, though. I don't want to cause us a problem with today's game or any other game getting suspended or injuries if possible. But again, we are drifting through this second half, and we are going to pause it there for a second and actually cancel that and pause it in game and go to the tactics screen, and we are going to change it up here. We're going to go into our vertical tiki-taka style, which is a more attacking style. We have it attacking mentality, and then we are going to have to change a couple of these personnel because they're not performing particularly well, and we do have some injury issues potentially coming up. So Milinkovic-Savic comes out, and we are going to bring on Vashirin for him, and we are going to bring Lulic off and put Lukaku on. And we've got one more to make, and we can either take Alberto off, who's struggling a little bit for fitness, or get run at one of these yellow cards, or we could do both with Alberto. We're going to do both. I'm going to bring Cataldi on, and because I've brought Cataldi on, we are actually going to switch him and Vashirin out, round, should I say, just because they play the role slightly better. What am I going to do, actually? Give me a moment to think about that. So yeah, I just switched a little bit of the player role for Cataldi. He was the one that was causing me the problems as to how to fit him into that setup particularly, but we've moved him into the box-to-box. So that's that done. The rest of them will just have to get through the rest of this game. Basically, we've got to go through and see if we can pick up something. So we come out and we shout and we'll say, demand more from them. See if we can boost their confidence and focus again. And it does a little bit for a while, but it will only be for a couple of minutes before it drops off, and there it goes again. Did it give us enough to get us one opportunity in the dying seconds of this particular match? I hope so. But we'll have to wait and see, because so far the form in this game has suggested maybe not. But here we go, down the right-hand side. Maricic rides a tackle into the penalty box, and then he doesn't cross the ball. He pile drives it at the side netting and wastes a really good opportunity to do something, to get it into those guys that are there paid money to put it in the back of the net, and we don't do it. And here ends another really disappointing performance from this side. It's just fallen off slightly. We've been performing well in the Euro Cup, absolutely we have. But everywhere else, just at the moment, form has dipped, confidence has dipped, and we've got a bit of an issue with a slightly imbalanced squad, it feels like. That you take a couple of people like Lazari out of the side, for example, and Correa today, and they just lose their abilities a little bit as a squad. We're not quite backed up as strongly as I'd like to be. Recently, Anderson has been playing exceptionally well, but today not. Immobile, I'm not so bothered about Immobile. He's done well, but maybe occasionally goes missing like today. But 20 goals in 39 appearances isn't too bad, is it really? So that's not a problem. But yeah, some of these backup players, not sure about. We're going to have to do a bit of work over the summer to rejig this squad. And talking about the summer, we've only got a couple of episodes left until we reach it now. Let's go into the schedule and have a look and see what we've got coming up. We've got this potential tricky patch here with Roma and Milan in the league, sandwiching Wolves, who we've got in the Euro Cup quarter-finals, second leg. So that's going to be really tricky. So I promised that we would come back and play the Roma game, because we didn't play the early one in the season, and Roma are the really direct geographical rivals to Lazio. So we'll come back and play that game, absolutely. And then we might come back and just finish off the season at that point. A couple more episodes in here, I think, just to reach the summer, and then we can rejig this squad slightly and reinvent it a little bit, and we'll have to wait and see how we can do that. But disappointing at the moment, isn't it? In the league specifically, we've had a couple of good spells. That early spell in the first half of the season was excellent, and whilst we're not losing a lot, we've got a few draws in there recently and a few defeats that are just dampen the confidence and motivation and momentum from the side a bit. So we need to continue to try and arrest it. We've got some hard games coming up to do that with. So come back and join me for the Roma match, the local derby, next episode, and we'll see where we are with the other games around us. But yeah, it's just a little bit dipping at the moment, and I'm a little bit unhappy about that. So that'll do it for today. Slightly damp game again, as I say, unfortunately, but that's the way this game goes occasionally. But thanks for joining me anyway. I really appreciate it. Always appreciate the viewers' numbers and people coming along for the ride. So thank you very much for the support. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, but you've been checking out my channel and watching a bit of my content, I'd really encourage you to do so. Come and join my United City community by subscribing, pressing that subscribe button. Come and join me on Twitter as well, at the United City FM. You'll find me there, and we chat about all sorts of things, and I talk about some of my ideas for saves coming up, etc. So yeah, come and join me there if you can. Click the like button on this particular episode if you'd like to help me out with that. That helps me get seen by lots of other people. But until next time, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.